Yo everyone, how we doing? Crazy times right at the moment. Um, I am due to do a coaching video today, but I thought I would, what with everything going on, I thought I'd just also give you a rundown and an update of my recent experience on my 10-day Vipassana silent meditation retreat. It was pretty eventful. um, Unfortunately, on the morning of day 8, we had finished up our first probably 3 hours of meditation that morning, and it was just after 9 o'clock. The main teacher came into the hall. We thought we were just receiving our instructions for day 8 to keep going and what we were doing, and he made an unfortunate announcement and was really sad, but announced that they were going to be cancelling the course, and that they'd been kind of keeping an eye on developments in the outside world over the last sort of 7 days since we'd been there on this retreat, but due to the kind of escalating issues that were going on, they thought it was wise to cancel the retreat so people could get home to their families and stuff like that. So, and then he kind of turned around and said, the world is not the same as it was when you first came in here. So you can imagine that feeling after 8 days of isolation and not talking to each other, to hear those words. I was genuinely gutted. I kind of burst into tears. It was such an emotional week. It was such a challenge. It was so enlightening in many ways that I'll go into. And just it felt like I was talking to one of my friends, Jimbo, and he kind of said, it was like being a mountaineer so close to reaching the summit and then being turned back at the last minute because of bad weather and being unable to reach the summit, which was tough, really hard, to go all that way, to put all that hard work in, and to kind of not make it. But the great thing is that we'd already done probably 73 hours of our 100 hours of meditation. So we'd already covered a lot of ground, and we learnt the main technique for the Vipassana meditation. And the last 2 days, according to the older students, would have just been about kind of just getting more practice, deepening the practice, obviously having more benefits from that as well, before leaving on day 11. So it really was an amazing experience, and it's probably been the weirdest week of my life, what with doing the Vipassana and then the way it ended so abruptly and the kind of craziness that we've all come out into now. So I'll give you a bit of a brief rundown of the whole experience. So if you didn't know, a Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreat is it's actually a course. It's a meditation course where you meditate on a daily basis. You have 10 sort of sessions a day. Let me show you the timetable. Okay, so the timetable is, you wake up at 4 every morning, the gong sounds, everyone scurries out of bed and gets themselves ready. I tried to after the first kind of couple of days, I tried to maintain my cold showers in the morning because I found it was the best way of just waking me up that time in the morning, and also putting me into a good kind of level of focus for the first session of meditations. So you sit down at 4:30 in the morning till 6:30 to meditate in the hall or your room. That was an option on some of the sessions. During those sessions where you had the option of meditating in your room or in the hall, I would kind of do, after a period of days, I realised that I needed to kind of break things up a little bit. So I'd kind of do like a 45 minute meditation. Then I'd go outside for a walk, go to the toilet, come back to the hall, sit down and then finish the rest of the session and whatever was left. Because I found that was a really good way to go, just to give my brain a bit of a break. Then 6:30 to 8 o'clock, we had breakfast. The food there was amazing. It's crazy sitting down to eat all your meals with other guys because the women and the men are all segregated onto different parts of the sites. So all the guys ate together. very strange sitting down to eat and not talk, not have anyone talking. All you can hear is the sound of utensils clanging against dishes and stuff. Nice in one respect, not to have to talk to anyone while you're eating, but really odd at the same token. But you do slip into a rhythm over a period of time. Then at 8 till 9 a.m. was the first group meditation that everyone was asked to be in the hall to do. There was 3 of those kind of meditations through the day, through the hours, an hour, 1 hour in length. And you had to kind of come to these meditations and try and kind of remain with this sort of strong determination throughout that session to try not to move and to try and kind of keep your eyes closed and stay with the process. I'm not going to read the rest of the timetable, but essentially it goes on all day like that, varying between group meditations or meditating in your rooms, leading you up to kind of 7 o'clock in the evening. We had a lunch break and we had a tea break. We only had 2 meals a day, and then the evening tea break was basically tea and 2 pieces of fruit. And to be honest, it's fine not having dinner, because you realise within the first couple of days how slow your metabolism starts getting. I mean, after the first couple of days, I really adjusted the amount of food I was taking on board. One, because it's better to meditate on a sort of not so much of a full stomach, but then also 2, because you're sitting down all day, you're not expending any energy, so you're kind of your energy intake needs to match your energy output, so your metabolism slow down, your appetite kind of starts going a little bit. I mean, you enjoy the meals, but I just didn't need to eat as big a volume of food while we were there. So obviously it was devastating to hear that it finished on day 8, being so close, but it had been an amazing kind of few days. Now days 2 and day 6 are kind of quite known to be quite difficult days, and they were kind of the 2 days where I kind of had my biggest struggles. Getting onto day 2, you get past the novelty of day 1, you get onto day 2, and you realise you've got 8 more days of this left to go. And it's quite a daunting feeling when you're kind of in that early stage as well, because you're kind of fighting against, I was anyway, it was kind of part of me was fighting against being there. I was coming up with all these different survival mechanisms on what I would do when I got out, who I would see, who I was missing, what I would eat. I was kind of almost going into a bit of a survival fantasy kind of mode on day 2, and not, rather than just actually accepting it and being present, and that that's just part of the process that you go through. And on day 2, when you've got 10 hours of meditation to do a day and you've got 8 more days to go, it's like, how am I going to get through this? We had a field to walk around outside our living quarters, which was invaluable. So you could go out and walk around this field, just to let off steam, think about things, just to get some exercise as well. And a few times I kind of looked out over the field and nearly burst into laughter, just seeing lots of guys stomping around this field trying to get some exercise in, thinking about their woes and their days, but not talking to each other. It looked like a kind of lunatic asylum. So yeah, day 2 was a little bit of a struggle. By day 3, my hips had totally locked up. I was so stiff and sore through my hips. I was in quite a lot of pain on the 3rd night. I couldn't sleep. And the thing that kept going on in my mind was the kind of the technique that we were using through the meditation was to focus on bodily sensations and not attach yourself to them, and not try to avoid them, and try not to crave them. That's the essence of the Vipassana meditation, and to focus on the impermanence of everything rising and falling, rising and falling. And the moment I kind of looked at the pain that I was going through in terms of a temporary thing, and to realise that this too shall pass, the pain would leave me, and then the moment I focused on it again, it would come back. And that went on for like a day. And then by day 5, suddenly, all gone. No pain, my hips were totally loose. I wasn't stretching anymore. My whole body felt like it could just kind of let go of so much stuff. And actually, funnily enough, from day 1 to day 5, when we got our opportunity to walk around the field, I would do my I was purposely doing a life review. So between days 1 and 5, I basically reviewed my whole life from my earliest memory to the present day, going through lots of different situations, relationships, people,